Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. of the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees April 2022 meeting. I believe that Marty said he'd be a little late, so we can get started. So what I will do is I'll start off by reading the policy for remote meetings as soon as I can find it. I should have it on speed dial at this point. Okay. So as a preliminary matter, this is Aaron Vandestein, the chair of the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond the affirmative. Doug Bowman.
Aye.
Karen Sepitelli.
Aye.
Stephanie Texera.
Aye.
Daniela Sharma.
Aye.
And Dana Wilson.
Aye.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Beth Galloway.
Aye.
And Mary, are you an anticipated speaker on the agenda?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So
Okay.
for those who don't know, Mary Loria is our town accountant, and we have an item on the agenda which we might want to fast forward to as soon as we can, which is about authorizing Nelson Library to manage their trust account. Skip Courier is trying to get in and says he's not an authorized user, so I'm advising him to log into Zoom first and then follow the link.
Okay,
But,
excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, so Mary, just respond the affirmative.
I'm sorry?
Just respond in the affirmative, say aye. I can hear you.
Aye.
You're good. Okay, so good evening. This open meeting of the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all public meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted on the town's website at www.grafton-ma.gov, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees is convening by Zoom video conference, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. So for Zoom meetings, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and that take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along unless I note otherwise. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda, and after they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide a comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items of public comment, after members have spoken, I will afford public comment as follows. I will first read public comments or questions received in advance of the meeting, followed by real-time board and/or applicant responses. Public comments during the meeting will be conducted through the chat feature in Zoom, possibly. And I will read real-time comments, questions typed by computer participants in the chat feature, followed by real-time applicant responses. Finally, each vote in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay. I think the public comment part of Zoom really applies to people who aren't really attending the meeting as a participant, who maybe just be, not participant, what am I looking for? A panelist, right? This is kind of like the panelist view. So I think that last bit probably doesn't apply to what we need to do tonight. Okay. So pull up the agenda. So is Skip on the line for us yet?
No, he just sent another note that it says authorized meeting, authorized attendings only. That means you have to be authorized with a Zoom account. And you have to log into Zoom first and then follow the link. So I don't have a phone number for him. I'm just telling him, log into Zoom, then follow the link.
Yeah, I'm texting him too. I told him like I have a Zoom account and I had to put in my credentials to
Yes.
get in. So I told him, I said, you may have to create a free Zoom account.
To that end, I mean, don't we have the
Dial
download
in?
information? Yeah.
Just a
that
phone call.
Yeah.
would be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move along for regular board business. So I have the item to approve minutes, March 9th and March 23rd. Is that? Oh, yes. Yeah.
Hey, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 9th and March 23rd meetings.
I second
Um,
that motion.
I had a
Okay.
question on them. I'm sorry.
So do I.
Oh,
Yep.
which
So-
one?
So first of all, just a point of order, I think we should approve them separately because they're separate meetings.
Mhm.
So we can amend that initial motion, but sure, any discussion? Let's go with Doug.
The meeting, I think it was March 23rd with the finance committee. I'm listed as an attendee, but I did not attend.
Okay.
I meant to email that to you earlier, Beth.
So the 9th. Finance committee was the 9th.
Yes, so that was the one I did not attend.
Okay. Amended.
Do we need to approve those minutes since it wasn't our meeting?
We do, because I had to post an agenda because there was a possibility of more than a quorum meeting. So per open meeting law, I had to post an agenda, and if you have an agenda, you have to do minutes. So I summarized my presentation and I will attach it. But I don't have official call to order or end of the meeting because it was actually FinCom's meeting. So I just said, our part started at this time. We were excused at that time. Here's what happened in between. I can
Okay.
share it.
Thank you. Dana.
Yeah, I just said, I was just wondering, I just think on the capital campaign, I think Doug and I both provided the overview, the update.
So I can only look at one at a time, the 9th or the 23rd.
23rd, I thought we were finished with the 9th, sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay, that is entirely possible. I did catch another error that Aaron sent to me and I fixed that. There we go. Amended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, it says that you both talked down here, so great catch. Thanks.
Okay. So do we have someone who would like to amend the motion on the floor?
Yeah, I'd like to accept the minutes as amended,
Which date?
March 9th.
Okay, do we have a second to accept the March 9th minutes?
I'll second the March 9th minutes.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Mhm.
All in favor of accepting the March 9th minutes? Aaron, aye. Doug,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Daniela,
Aye.
and Dana.
Aye.
Great. So I'll entertain a motion for the March 23rd minutes.
I'd like to amend the March 23rd minutes.
Um,
I will second an approval of the amended March 23rd minutes.
Perfect. Okay, all in favor? Aaron, aye. Doug,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Daniela,
Aye.
and Dana.
Aye.
Great. Moving on to, where's my agenda? Hi, Skip. Welcome to the meeting.
You're
just
on
wanna
mute.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you can hear us.
Am I still on mute?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Great. So we're just going to go through line 3 on the agenda to approve bills, and then I think we can probably skip to your bid if you'd like.
That's fine.
Okay, excellent. So I have a next item on the meeting is approve bills, fiscal year 22 warrants 40 through 44.
I make a motion to approve the bill warrants 40 through 44.
Great. Any second? Daniela, we can't hear you.
I will second that motion.
Great. Any discussion on the bills? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of accepting the bills warrants 40 through 44. Aaron, aye. Doug,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Daniela,
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Great. I declare the motion carried. There we go. Okay, so the next is ongoing business, but I'm going to skip down to new business. We have a guest, Skip Courier, representing the Nelson Library trustees. Is that correct?
I guess so. If that's how you want to characterize this, as I have gone through looking to do our annual reports, I've been including the information from our trust fund.
Mhm.
And in speaking with Mary, in becoming more involved in the accounts and having access to looking things up in the town's accounting system, I kind of found that when this money was removed from the flagship bank and turned over to the treasurer collector's office or the accountant's office many moons ago, it was incorrectly set up as I want to use the right account number, a 610 account number, which is the library trust funds that you can see there. And it should have been set up as I believe partially an 82, which is unexpendable trust fund, and an 84, but under the Nelson Library account, which would be a 650, not a 610 account number. And this just came to light recently, and Mary is trying to get everything in the right place to move over to the new accounting system that we're going to start using in January of next year, I believe. And I kind of brought this to Beth's attention, and she felt that it might be better explored or discussed or addressed at, with you folks, instead of simply just making it saying, oh yeah, this never should have been put here. It should have been put as a 650, not a 610 account.
Thank you, Skip. I'm clearly not educated in a lot of these account numbers. It looks like Doug has a comment he'd like to add. Go ahead,
Well,
Doug.
I mean, I've reviewed this and I've been with, let's see, I've been trustee for, I don't know, 10, 12 years.
Mhm.
And this has been in the library that category since I've been on it. But we've, as the Grafton Public Library Board of Library Trustees, we've never had control over that Nelson Trust. So I know it's been looked at a couple times by lawyers, I think it was like 1979 and 1989 or something, but I see no reason why this can't be moved out of this account and into the account that Skip mentions, because we've never really had control over that. And there's, I think it belongs somewhere else.
And that's what we talked about. This is really strictly a bookkeeping thing.
I agree.
Yeah, in fact, probably every 5 years when the trustees look at that, they say, hey, what's that? I mean, and it's really not appropriate for, it's not really in our purview. So I don't know. What do you need, Mary and Skip? Do you just need us to vote to move it out of ours, or do you just need us to say yes?
Yeah, I'd just like some type of confirmation, so then I can reclassify it. And if the auditors pull that journal entry, I'll have supporting documents.
Okay, then I
recommend-
if it's appropriate, then sorry.
Nobody is around that did this to ask them about it and say, why did you do this, you dummies?
I think it,
Probably saw the
I think
word library and threw it in the library bucket.
yeah, I think it was just an error.
Yeah.
Hold on a moment. We have too many people speaking. So Doug, finish your thoughts, and then I'll let Mary finish her thoughts.
Well, I was going to go ahead and make a motion, but no,
Okay.
I'll let everybody
Mary,
else
did you
talk
have something
first.
to add?
No, I don't have to add anything. If the meeting minutes or an email from Beth should suffice, or to make
Okay.
the correction. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Dana.
It's okay. I was just going to say, I've been a trustee for a long time too, and this is news to me, so it makes 100% sense. Does that mean that, are those funds really there? Because that's good news, right? Okay,
Yes, the funds are available.
wonderful.
Go ahead, Stephanie, and then I just have a quick question.
Sorry, I don't know if you can see if I can raise my hand as a reaction. So I have a question. I have reviewed all of these, and I do not understand legally the difference between the account number. So I looked at all of the documents, I read them, but could you explain a little bit more? Like, for me, just saying like it's a clerical error, or it should have been, is not enough for me to, I'm sorry, someone has background noise. Thank you. It's not enough for me to say, yeah, we should do this because there was a mistake made 30 or 40 years ago, without understanding why you're asking for it to be moved. And like I said, that comes because I don't have enough of an understanding of what those classifications are. So if you could just spend 2 more minutes explaining that a little bit better, that I would appreciate that.
Go ahead,
You want me
Skip.
to take a crack at it?
Sure.
Okay, so very basically, the 610 that I referred to is what's the library number in our accounting system. So anything that has a 610 in it, after the first number or 2 numbers, indicates that it's a library item, whether it's an expense, a salary, or any of that kind of stuff. 650 is a Nelson Park account. And what should have happened when this money came from Flagship Bank, I'm not exactly sure when that happened, but it was more than 20 years ago. It should have been put into an account that had a 650 in it, not a 610. And what I would agree with what Doug said is somebody saw library and just threw it in there. Much like today, our bills still get mixed up. So if you want something further back from this, I'll give you another 2 minutes. Mr. Nelson died in 1906. He had a relatively younger wife, not a whole lot. She lived until 1934. And at that time, when she died, the trust was turned over to the town. The town accepted it with a town meeting vote and everything. At the time, it was all with the Worcester County Trust Company or Savings Bank or a permutation of that. They had done all the banking for the family. They did banking for the town. So the town accountant and the trustees, and I believe the Board of Selectmen at the time, all signed off on having them maintain the money there. They went through a number of changes and buyouts and so forth, and it remained, kind of went to Flagship Bank and it was converted from what it had been into cash. The trust had participated in mortgages, owned stock and bonds and stuff like that. And eventually it all got changed over into cash. And that's where it's at with Flagship Bank. And then if you go back and look in town reports, you'll see that there's always a funky line, a custodial account for the Nelson trustees. And then it just kind of gets folded into the town stuff. And we weren't really aware of it being classified as a library thing instead of a Nelson Park thing until, Mary finally beat it into my head. She said, "Hey, dummy, we got to fix this." How's that?
No, thank you. So here is my follow-up question, especially with everything that we're doing on the library side. So far, right now, as it stands legally, we don't touch that money. We don't move it around. Even though it's classified as us, it is not us. So do we actually have the legal standing or even policy-wise standing to say, yes, reclassify it when it's not actually in our lane?
Well, so because it's currently classified as a 610 account, now Mary, feel free to tell me I'm wrong, but Mary feels as though that indicates it's library money. And it's not really. It belongs as a 650 because it's the Nelson trustees' money. And what she's looking for is you guys saying, yeah, we agree that's not our money. And it really, there's what's called a Scrivener's error, which is an oopsie. And that's really all this seems to be.
So that's what we're looking to agree to, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not like you're not saying go ahead and take this money when you feel that you don't have a right to say that because it's not yours to start with, I guess.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for all that clarification. I really appreciate it. I'll turn it back over to Aaron.
Yeah, so the Nelson Library was a town library for many years. And I would say at some point, wouldn't it be under the purview of the Board of Library Trustees, that fund, or is that not the case because it was entrusted to the, well, I don't know who it was entrusted to. I thought it was for upkeep of the building and the grounds.
It is for the upkeep of the building and the grounds under the direction of the Nelson trustees, so to speak.
I see.
Yeah, in
Okay.
fact, sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand. In fact, in the trust, if you read through the will, it's written in that the library or any other buildings have to be on that land. So they wouldn't even be allowed to move that to another space. So, just historically, the Nelson Trust has the ability, as it is now, to spend that money. It's literally just like sitting in the wrong filing cabinet. It needs to be in that 650 instead of the 610.
Thank you. Yeah, so my second question was, I think, Doug, you were kind of alluding to it a little bit, I guess what's the impetus for this? Is that nobody can spend it? I mean, the Board of Trustees can't really spend it because that building's not under our purview. And Skip, on behalf of the Nelson Trust, are you not able to spend it? But Doug says that you are, that this is just a bookkeeping.
So this is strictly a bookkeeping thing to move it over to the right place. I've actually deposited money into this without just not paying attention to the fact that it's a 610 and, having that click My thing was when I got funds that were to go into the account, I got the right account number to put it in. This issue only came to light now when it's, wait a minute, this should be a 650, not a 610.
Okay, great. Just a correction that needs to be made. Very good. I don't have any further questions, but I'll open the floor to any final questions, and then we can hear a motion to make the account change. Great.
I make a motion to change the account number of the Nelson Library 610 account to 650 as described by Skip Courier of the Nelson Trust.
Okay, any second?
Does that sound right?
I'm so sorry. Before we second it, I actually have one more question of discussion.
Well, hold on. So let's have someone second, and then we can have some discussion on the motion. Yep,
Second.
great. Go ahead, Stephanie, discussion.
So on page 2 of the will, third paragraph, it says all balances of said trust, which Doug had alluded to earlier, said trust fund shall be held in a trust by said town of Grafton through the agency of said trustees to be elected and used for maintenance of Nelson Park, library, all of that stuff. So I just want to be clear that moving forward, if this goes into that trust, the board that you're sitting on, not being fully aware of it myself, I'm sorry for that. It will still be used in that purposes for caring for that building and all of the land moving forward. I couldn't hear you.
It's imperative that I hit the unmute button. Absolutely. No, yes, there is no, it would be spent or not spent. The last time we took any money out of that was probably 18 years ago to buy a lawnmower.
Okay, I just wanted we were talking about the park, and I just wanted to make sure that in your trust's purview, that building is still included in it. So I'm all set with the first and second motion. Sorry about that delay.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aaron, aye. Doug?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Daniela?
Aye.
Dana? We can't hear you, Dana.
Let me see. Aye.
Great, thank you. I declare the motion carried. Thanks, Skip, and thanks, Mary.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for
everyone.
straightening
Have a
that
good night.
out.
Bye-bye.
Okay, great. So the next item on the agenda is ongoing business, the MPLCP building program grant update. Beth.
I have exciting news. The state has some more money for us, but it does hinge on us finishing all the financial reporting that we're still trying to figure out as the project nears completion. So as soon as I can finish the reporting, we can request, I think it's about $44,000 as payment number 2. Since we've met all of the requirements to move forward and start requesting those reimbursements. So that's exciting. Construction punch list has one official item, the HVAC, that they're doing some remedial work to. And then we still have some of the same familiar outstanding things that we're waiting for. We did knock off a lighting issue in the community room. We did put signage with wheelchair icons to indicate accessible exits on the required exits. The post for the accessible button to open the doors in the vestibule by the parking lot is in process. and we had already completed the shower. There were 4 things that are keeping us at substantial completion and not official occupancy certificate. So those are 3 of them. And then the 4th thing is the ADA counters. And the architect was out with a mill worker last week or the week before, I forget, to take a look at the counters and try and come up with a plan and schedule for when they will be lowered. I had said June would be best, given that we have lots of programming in April and May. And now they told me July. So it's going to be done at some point. They have 11 counters in the building to address and like 5 sinks. We're working on phasing that work. So meeting rooms are going to be in high demand over the summer because we've got a double book, so that if they're working in, say, the children's program room there, and we have a program plan, there's an alternative, the big community room to move to, should construction be going on in some of those spaces. And I just said I would be as flexible as I could to get it done. We're still waiting on signage. I'm looking for a quote still from Sunshine Sign for an hour's film that's going to go on the door, or not on the door, but on the window, the lights. That's what it's called. The window panel next to the door at the accessible entrance off the Upton Street parking lot. I think we're looking for authorized personnel only signage and some more discreet video surveillance signage just at the entrances and exits. So we have a lot of signs now. We're going to be getting rid of the paper, putting them in, having nicer signs. Thank you to the capital campaign that's going to fund that. I'm still waiting for glass to be installed on 2 tutor room doors. The doors have arrived, but we can't install them until the glass is put in them. And they want to do all 3 at once. This is the 2 teen, tween, and children's. The 3rd is the children's room, tutoring rooms. So we're still waiting for another door with glass in it before they put together all 3 of them. They're waiting on, I believe, the building inspector to sign off on the doors to close, like accordion or bifold doors to close off the makerspace for programming and security, and the presentation area to eliminate or lessen sound, noise, and visuals while there's preparation going on in that space, in the kitchen space during a program. And then gate at the bottom of the stairs, there was a gate that was too heavy. We redesigned it, and it's like still in process. And we're waiting for that to come and get installed too. And that's one of the things that's preventing us from being able to do more after hours programming, in terms of giving a key card to a group on a Sunday and letting them come in and use just the community room, the kitchen, and the restrooms without having access to children's room, teen area, and the entire upper level. So it's just things that are taking a long time for any number of reasons to resolve. We unfortunately had a roof leak the 20th, I think after the Patriots Day holiday. I came in, and in the community room, there was leaking not along any edge of the room, like where the doors are to the patio, but inside the room near the AV closet. And then kind of the same tiles further down, both in community room A and B. So Paul noticed it and brought it to my attention. Ron looked at it. I sent pictures to the construction team. Evan was in today and looked at it. The construction manager from CTA suggested that putting the green roof on the flat roof over the community room has voided the roof warranty. So I'm not sure yet how we're going to resolve that. Evergreen Environmental had been scheduled this week to come out and fertilize the green roof. So I asked if while they were there, they could lift up their flats and we could take a look to see if there were any perforations. And I can tell you, when I looked out the staff room today or yesterday, the areas that on the green roof that correspond with the leak in the room underneath have bare patches, almost as if the sedum in those locations died. So I don't know exactly what's going on and what the resolution will be. All I can tell you is we had a leak, we're looking at it, and we will work to resolve it. But I don't think that it's going to be covered under warranty, which means somebody will have to pay for that repair. Even if the room had leaked previously during the construction project, we did have early on leakage, again, like not near the exterior doors leading out to the patio, but actually by the interior doors. As you come into the room from the library, there was water pooling early on before we even finished the room, when we just still had, before drywall even, we had puddling and had to make some repairs. So Stephanie has a hand up.
I do, where they said that putting the green roof voided the warranty. And I know people were very diligent at taking pictures. Is there photographic evidence of the fact that this was leaking and not sufficiently built prior to the green roof being installed? Because that would be a different conversation.
If you are better versed than I and would like to bring that forward, you're welcome to. We did a lot of photo documentation. It was a pretty brusque email. And I believe that it's possible that there was not actually, because of turnover, we've had 3 different leads as construction manager from CTA, and then our clerk of the works left in August. So there does not seem to have been communication in the proper way or channel, I think, possibly from library team to construction team for what the intention was. I don't know if Cape Way does green roofing or should have been more informed. My understanding is sort of a green roof was in the building program. We didn't think it was going to happen. Capital Campaign said they would fund it. Andy arranged it. I don't know how much Cape Way Roofing or CTA, and the architect knew to design the roof to hold a green roof. But then there must be a disconnect between, hey, we are going to do the green roof. Is that okay? How do we do it the right way? Can we use our vendor? Do we need to do it in a different way? So I think that communication breakdown has now spurred up, well, we're not, you did that thing, we didn't know, it's on you.
Yeah,
Regardless of any.
maybe in that shuffle, there's some paper that says in a one-liner that if we went forward with it, it would void the warranty, but I would like to see that. Oh, we can talk more offline.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just,
I'm guessing it's
I
gonna
never
be.
like to take the word of a sternly written email as like the end all be all without seeing some like
Sure.
further documentation if we're going to end up shelling out a lot more money to fix this.
I hear you. Building committee meets on May 2nd. They will probably have to discuss it and take it on. And construction committee, the construction team, us 5 stragglers, meet at 4 o'clock on Mondays. But I'm trying to, again, like, I have been the de facto clerk of the works on this project since August, and it is not my bailiwick to be doing it. So I've tried to now pass it on to, Evan to deal with. And we'll have a meeting. We're going to try and call a meeting with the OPM to discuss it.
Beth, I think Karen had a question for you.
All right, this may be hard to answer.
Oh,
We lost your
you
audio.
froze. It's not me.
Nope.
I look like I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go
All
ahead.
right. Do we have any idea, is this like a $1,000, $10,000, $50,000 fix?
No, so it was just noticed a week ago. My
Okay.
initial photographs and concerns to the team went unanswered.
Okay.
I bumped it up Monday, 2 days ago in our meeting, and Evan's been in the loop the whole time. So
Okay.
yeah, not even the foggiest idea.
Not in the finest. Okay. All right. Thank you.
We've also had 2 incidents. I don't think, I forget who I've said. I tend to send incident reports to the chair, to Aaron, and then to Evan, my boss, and then to the staff, so they're aware of incidents. We've had 2 incidents this week of patrons getting hurt at various points in the building. Somebody cut their hand because they had their hand on the glass rail, which has a chip in it, and their hand hit the chip on the glass. It's not even a rail, it's the wall on the stairwell that prevents you from falling off of the stairs. There's a handrail to hold that you're supposed to hold, but somebody cut their hand on the glass, which has a chip in it. And then a toddler fell and hit their head on the window seat in one of the window seats in the children's room. So these are also things we're looking to address to keep the building safe for everybody.
I think Stephanie has a hand up. Go ahead.
Sorry, I do. I want to jump back to the roof for a second. They noticed the leak. Have they done any water mitigation to make sure that the leak isn't still happening and that we're not developing any mold issues? Because having my own water leak problem, I learned that in 3 days, it can really just start running rampant. So that would be a huge secondary issue. So has that happened, or they just kind of looked at it and said, this is something we got to talk about fixing?
It was suggested that somebody go up on a ladder and pop up the ceiling tile and take a look to see if it was an active leak, not to look for mold. And my response was, I'm actually not allowed to do that. It's a union issue.
Mm-hmm.
I will remind Evan tomorrow that if he could delegate a custodian to take a look, that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was really freaky the way that Doug walked into the window like that. He kind of walked up into the ceiling there. That was cool. Dana, go ahead.
I just wondered if someone could keep us up to date on this, because I know I listened, but it doesn't, it sounds like it's really confusing, because it sounds like Beth was saying there was a problem a long time ago. And now the problem now I think is in the same area.
No,
So-
it's a different
okay.
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have we talked to the people that did the green roof?
They're coming out. They're supposed to come out today. They're actually going to come out Friday, not tomorrow.
Okay.
So, yeah, because I said, if you're going to come out anyway, can you lift up the flats that are there so we can look underneath to see if there's a perforation?
And how would we know how that got perforated?
I'm not a construction person. I
Okay.
can't
Okay.
answer that.
Okay. I guess that's the answer. I mean, that's the question.
Yeah, because the flats are not, they're designed to sit on a roof.
Right.
They should
Yeah,
not have.
And the roof was
clogging.
designed for it.
Yes,
Go ahead.
to hold
Doug.
the weight.
Yeah, and I'm honestly not sure how the flats are, if they're actually installed on the roof or just sitting right on top of the roof. So it seems like to me that's either CTA's responsibility or the green roof installer responsibility. So it's just a matter of figuring out where the leak is and what might have caused it and when it happened.
Yeah, they are not installed, and like there's no nails or screws or staples. They're sitting on the roof, but then it's plastic. I think they're plastic, and they interlock and hitch together so that they don't move around.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as Doug. Whenever you have any sort of vendor doing any sort of work on your roof, I have experience with solar panels. They warranty the solar panels and that your roof won't leak based on the work that they did. So I'd like to hear what the green roof people say, because I'm sure that's not out of the realm of possibility for that to happen to anybody's roof that they do work on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else go ahead.
Yeah, just that there's still another, there's a long list of things that just still aren't done. So I'm going to get that to Evan and try and figure out resolution, because they're things that are like technically FF&E, which means it's not really scope of construction project. But I keep saying, like, I don't have somebody to hang up a TV, to install a bike rack, and to do some of these things that are just outstanding. So we're just trying to figure out how to either get them to get it done, say that they're not going to do it, and give us the money, take out the money for it if it was intended that somebody on the project was going to hang up, say, bike racks and TVs. So I still spend a lot of time on construction. It's back up, way up the last couple of weeks. Yeah, we also discovered, I thought that I could just call Peralta and order soil to fill in our community garden beds, but we're reviewing the landscaping plans for those beds because I thought that there was a ramp that would make it accessible. It's not ADA accessible. And the beds are they're not deep enough to house any plants. They're the size of like a railroad tie. And they were actually supposed to have a ledge that somebody could like perch and sit on, 2 feet up and work on the beds. And they're full of gravel and a little bit of dirt. So they need to be completely excavated to put soil in there to grow things. So that's just becoming this huge, like another huge project.
I'm going to go ahead, Dana, and then I want to move back to the FF&E if you don't mind.
Okay, I just wanted, okay, so are we saying that they're not really designed to hold plants and vegetables and, well, then they've made a mistake, right? They
We're
need to
reviewing the
correct
plan-
that.
We're reviewing the plans to see
Okay.
if there was a mistake made
Okay,
or a misunderstanding. But again, like this all took place after the clerk of the works left. So there wasn't oversight.
okay. Can it be, let's see if we can remedy that, because otherwise they're not really good for us.
No, so staff really want to plant. We usually plant by June 1st. So staff were asking, can we bring back those, where are the wooden beds? I'm like, no, we're done with wooden beds. This is what we have designed. We're not
Yeah.
putting things on the new lawn. But also you can't get from the teen patio to the teen community garden beds. There's a bank of plants and you have to trample through a mulch bed of plants to get to that space, or go all the way out around across the lawn, up the
Yeah.
sidewalk and back over. You actually cannot walk around the whole building.
I was there last week with Doug. I see what you're saying. Okay, because we also, we funded that, the capital campaign funded those beds. So
Yeah.
we need them to be right. We'll figure it
Yeah.
out.
All
Because we
right.
want them to be functional, otherwise it's pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have the plans, so I can look at them. But again, that was, the challenges, that was Andy that reviewed those plans. And that level of detail might have been missed. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I can look at the plans. As far as, digging them out and filling them with, quality dirt, I think we can take care of that.
Yeah. It's just, again, like, I don't, like the bottom level is probably only 6 inches. And then I don't know what's under, like, how far do we have to dig down? Are they on, like, was there a surface that was put in? I just don't know. An exciting excavation project.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Just let us know, Beth, because we'll figure something out.
Thanks.
So just to go back to a lot of the incidental things that need to be done in and around the library. Just the couple things that you mentioned, and there's probably other things that maybe aren't in the same category, but it almost kind of seems like it's like a facilities maintenance person, right? That would do those sort of things. So I'm sure the town has a lot of these type of requests in and around the municipal building and all the other buildings under the town's purview. I mean, are the employees required to do this themselves, or are the departments required to hire somebody to do that sort of work? I find it hard to believe, but go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a custodian to delegate to.
Well, right. So custodial is one thing. I look at that as cleaning, but I'm talking more about facilities.
Yeah.
Somebody getting up on the ladder, like you said, to take a look
Yeah.
at something. I get it. A facilities group is kind of a luxury, maybe. Maybe I'm just spoiled in my new role because they have a facilities department, and I said, hey, that light bulb doesn't work. And I put in a ticket and the guy shows up. He goes, Aaron, you didn't turn on the light switch. And he showed me the light switch and that was it, right? So I'm wondering what kind of, services the town has in that regard, because those are the sort of things that I find would, fall under facilities, maybe not custodial.
We did away with our ticketing system for that.
Well, right, tickets,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there should still be people that do those sort of things for the town. And you're saying that's custodial?
Yeah. And then it kind of becomes a construction issue when I have a TV that needs to be hung up, but it was like designed to go in the same place where a sign was supposed to go. And the sign guy got there first. So now we have to move the sign. And is that going to, so it'll either block the TV or the TV will block the sign. Like,
Yeah, I understand. Sometimes TV mounting isn't really under the purview of facilities. But if you'd like, I can certainly start a dialogue with Evan and kind of see what his thoughts are. I don't know if that discussion has already been.
yeah, we We met today. We're going to be meeting every other week. And I told him I was going to give him a list
Okay,
of what I had outstanding. So
okay.
it's fine. It's finally going to move forward.
Okay, great. If you'd like me to jump in the conversation, just let me know. Thank you. Anything else for us on the NPLCP building program grant update?
I don't think so.
Okay, very good. So grab a drink of water and then you're on to the fiscal year 2022 budget update.
Okay, I sent it out a long time ago. So they come at the end of the month and then we have almost 3 weeks before we meet, right? So it's the March. I think it might be the end of February document that we have. No, it's end of March document to look at. So are there any questions? We're 3/4 of the way through the fiscal year. I have been very concerned about the electric bill. We got a $200,000 credit from National Grid. They will not give us any money back for what we have spent out, but we're not going to have to pay an electric bill for the library for a while. They're averaging about $7,000 a month. So I think that frees up enough money to get me through the rest of the fiscal year for everything else that we need to pay out for. I'm still concerned about actually one of the revolving accounts, and it's the copier lease, which I thought was going to be, $600 a month or less, and includes the cost of printing, which we didn't factor in. And even though we're charging more for printing than it costs to print, at some point we're going to run out of money in that account because we're not taking in enough to cover the lease. Where when I did the budget, it looked like it would cover it for 3 years, and it may not. Which just means in FY24, I'm going to need to bring back a lease account to cover the cost of it. So other than that, the budget's in good shape. I did suggest, I still don't, I'm sorry, I still didn't get a report from the town on what we spent out to Biblioteca. It did zero out the state aid account that had $33,000 in it. So I've suggested that we take unspent personnel money and put that back in the state aid account so that it's not zero. And I thought I had to go to town meeting to do that. And Mary Loria said, no, we can just do that as a general ledger. So for next month, I'll get you what we spent out to Biblioteca and what I moved back for personnel.
Okay, any questions for Beth on fiscal year 2022 budget? Great, that's fantastic. So who worked their magic to get a $200,000 credit?
Mary Loria, who you just met.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, she did a lot of work consolidating accounts and saying, no, these need to be allocated to the library project. Yeah, she's still trying to get us a good rate. So yeah, I think the rate's been corrected at this point.
Does the lead status help with the electricity rate in any way, shape, or form?
I don't think so. I think what's helping is that we aggregate and we purchase green power, and having multiple buildings and departments all under that same umbrella contract is what gets us a low rate. And what I actually heard is that if we put solar panels on the roof, it may not necessarily like it may not actually be beneficial in terms of the bill because of all of the low rates we're already getting as a town. So that's interesting. There isn't a lot of room up on the roof for them. We did wire for photovoltaic. But when I said, oh, when we get that silver lead money, we can put that into solar panels. And the response I got, I think from Evan, was it actually may not be in our best interest to do that. Like, it sounds really good, but it actually may hurt you financially as opposed to helping. And we already are making strides in a lot of ways to be a green town. So it may not be necessary. And we'll get our LEED certification without having them. And we can't go back and say, now we have solar panels. Can we have a gold rating? Like, it just doesn't work that way. So.
Yeah. So, I mean,
May not be worth it.
Is the $7,000 a month? Is that kind of the monster in the closet, I guess, when that bill starts to come due? We're gonna have to start worrying about that, maybe just keep pushing it down. Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll have a better idea to make an accurate assessment. So I don't know if you remember, but they did the architects hired a company to do energy modeling. based on the HVAC system and the lights they picked and all of that. And what they came out with was, it's going to cost you about $43,000 annually to run a building of this size and scope. But if you put in all these efficiencies, it's actually going to reduce by $7,000 to $10,000 a year. So the figure that I've been putting in the budget was 33,000, but the reality is it's been running more at
48,000, yeah.
48,000.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, we should be okay for a couple of years, and I'll have a more accurate figure to make the budget request at that point.
And just one last question. Have you started to run the AC at all yet? Because I know we opened the building in October, and we've had a lot of cold months.
Yeah.
What's that going to be like? Any idea?
There's a date that it switches over. I came in and it was very cold one morning, and I wasn't sure if it was running AC or if the system had just been shut off. So again, they're doing a lot of HVAC work right now, and the system's been off and on and fluctuating oddly. I think that my recollection is it was like May 1st is the date where we can adjust it. But again, we're still limited in a range. Right now, I can only set the heat or cooling to the range of 70 to 74 degrees. And that's deliberate so that we don't make it too cold and waste a lot of energy trying to cool the building. I have requested a dozen times that a 68 to 72 degree range would be more in keeping with, room temperature guidelines and keep staff a little more comfortable. But I can't do that globally for the whole building until HVAC is complete with the project, and that's the one thing that's still on the punch list. So the short answer is, to my knowledge, AC has not been on, nor can we make the building any cooler manually and with the system than 70 degrees. If we turn everything off, it may naturally cool the light. It was 65 in my office when I came in the other morning, but it was because, and my panel on the wall was locked and I couldn't make any adjustments. I had to send an email and say, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we just forgot to turn it back on over the weekend, sorry. So
I see. So there's zones. It's not just you have to blanket it.
No, there's a
range
lot of
system.
there's a lot of zones, and then there's like a first and a second floor kind of master, but I can set individual zones. It's just I can't make a permanent. It would take a long time. There's a lot of zones. There's like 20 per floor, and I don't have the time to go and change everything manually. I want the company to make a global change, but we may not be able to do it till they leave. So sign off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Moving on to the next item is the revised fiscal year 2023 budget request.
I don't think anything has changed since our last meeting. We had a revision in March where staff got slotted into a step system, and most staff everybody got a raise. Some staff who were making low money got significant raises. And there have not been any further adjustments. FinCom did all of their hearings, made their recommendations. I think the warrant is set. And now we're scheduled to go to town meeting in 2 weeks, Monday, May 9th. So we are at a little over $1 million for FY23. After town meeting, Evan and I will be sitting down with Mary to try and come up with a plan over the next couple of years to increase staffing to meet our staffing needs. But we are going into FY23 with not enough bodies to run the building when somebody is out or sick. And I've got I don't have my stats this month because I spent all week doing scheduling and triage for people who are out for one reason or another. So it's going to be very challenging next year with the staff that we're getting.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that the town's spending time to work with you on this and making it a real project to work on and try to figure out.
And I will say I am much happier that staff have raises than me taking, it was like $6,000 total for the budget. It wouldn't even give me that much of a person or body, but at this point, like they need that money for their salaries more than I needed to say, we're staying at 2.5% for everybody and adding $6,000 worth of staffing. It's not enough anyway, so.
Great, well done.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Any questions for Beth regarding the fiscal year 2023 budget request?
I don't
Dana.
I don't really have a question, but if she can just keep us, we want to know what's going on. Like if you have to shut down the library because you don't have enough employees and things like that, we should know. Because maybe I'm not, maybe somehow we can help out in some fashion. Not that I want to set a precedent, but if you've got to shut like the children's room or the teens room or one of the floors down, that's not great.
It's not.
I guess if we can have stats on that, and then we can figure out what to do, because we could, maybe it's just hiring 2 part-time people or something. I don't know. And maybe that could be done for a period of time. I don't know. I'm just saying, let us know so we can figure it out.
One thing that the board can do is that policy committee can meet and change our minimum staffing from 4 staff in the building to 6 staff. And then we would have some leverage to get the town to provide adequate staffing per the board's policy. So
that makes sense to me because we're in a different building. It's different and it's large. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep thinking like that.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm also, I'm only 35 hours and we're open 60 hours. So sometimes it's managerial staff who, we expected 6 people to be in that night. We only had 5. We thought we could do it. And then somebody goes home sick and now we're down to 4. So we have to close children's or teen. If I'm at home, like they might text and alert me, but they put it on social media. So how much do you really want to be in the loop for? You don't want in the minute we had to close, do you? Is it okay to just?
No, just an aggregate. So we know, and we can, and you can say, this is the problem. And so we can say, hey, that's a real problem. We're not going to wait another year for it to be solved. Should we hire some bibliotechs or what? That's what I mean.
Okay, thanks.
Karen, please.
I guess, just kind of following up with all of this, I would personally rather see you close the library and keep everybody safe than try to do a patchwork. So I agree with that, changing the staffing minimum and that sort of thing. So that way you have some leverage and something in writing saying, we need 6 people to keep this library open and to keep staff and patrons safe. Because, waiting for something to happen and go wrong is not going to help anybody.
Yeah, we did, somebody overslept, I won't say who.
Yeah.
On last Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And there were 4 people at 10 and then 2 other people who come in at 11 because I don't have the funds. I can't make them 20-hour employees because then we have to give them benefits. So they're 18-hour staff. So I had a staff member literally, because the doors automatically unlock, somebody literally standing outside the door at 10 to say, I'm so sorry. We can't open because we only have 3 people. Can you wait a few more minutes? Like we're waiting for somebody to come in and then we'll open the building. They didn't bother me with it because it was Saturday. They solved it themselves. The person came in by 10:15. We opened. 1 person left and didn't come back. The rest patiently waited.
And this is something we can, I think, like you said, easily remedy, meet as a policy committee, adjust the minimum staffing, and then go forward from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Erin, can I jump in on that?
Yep.
So that the whole board knows, this is actually something that we've talked about on policy committee multiple times. The quandary that we get put in is that it is a bigger building, but we were, and so, we kind of lean to the side that it seems like everybody's going right now, where if you don't have the appropriate amount of people, you close sections of the library. However, on the other end, we are getting pushback from the town. We are not getting enough money to hire new staff. And so then there's that push, like, to keep it open, and to be able to keep it open, you cannot add more people. So this is a conversation, just so you all know, every single time the policy committee meets, we are having this discussion, and not once has the 3 of us been on the same page at a single meeting about it because of that. It's do you want half the library to end up having to close multiple times? Well, not a full half, but a section of the library to have to close potentially a few times a week? Or do you leave it open as much as possible? So just something so you guys know that we have really been talking about exhaustively. And even though the policy committee is just us, if you guys have other input about that, would love to see you at the next policy committee, because it's something we're constantly banging our heads against the wall about, like, what is the best move to do for the town and for this space and for safety. And we haven't figured out what that is yet.
If we have more than 4 people, we have to post an agenda and meet in a public meeting, just so you know, which we
Yeah.
can do, but I've been advised to go ahead and get you guys to make the policy change.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say to Beth. We could potentially also discuss this in open meeting and not have to do a special meeting. And we can have a presentation from the policy committee on, some bullet points on what kind of options you've come up with. We don't have to vote to approve, but we can have some discussion and provide some feedback. And even if you want to send it out ahead of time, that we can review, prior to the meeting, that would be okay too. Does that sound doable, Daniela? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay. Yeah, certainly if you're at a standstill and you want to solicit more feedback, I think that's appropriate.
It's funny, the standstill is the limiting factor is funds. That really is. We're just, our discussion is, what do we do in the absence of those funds?
Okay. Thank you. Doug, please.
I should know this, and I probably asked this before, but things like the teen room, right? When the teens are in school all morning, is that room open the whole time? Because I obviously there's some at-home teens also, but I wasn't sure if, if you could open the teen room a little later and close the children's room a little earlier, because they're not going to be there at 8 o'clock at night. Or is it really that you get people there during all open hours?
It's definitely quiet in the whole building from 5 to 6 and 8 to 9. I did ask staff. There is a sense of it becomes ageism is the wrong discrimination if you don't have all areas of the library available all the time for anybody who wants to use it. So consistency for hours and coverage is really important. And it's a mix. My recommendation to staff has been keep the teen room locked in the morning and let people in if they request it when I don't have staff, which is usually just 2 mornings a week. As opposed, and like I can't go sit, like I don't go sit in there generally. And then the kids are often home and it's quiet in there after 6 o'clock. Like they go home between 5 and 6 for dinner, and only, a handful of people come back once in a while at night to use the teen space. At some point though, we're going to be doing evening programming, and we'll need to be, and then like we need 2 people in the room, one to manage the desk and one to run the program. So I'd say it behooves us to keep the room open as much as possible to allow anybody who wants to go in there to go and collect materials, and specifically for teens age 12 to 18 to be in there spending time all the hours that we're operating. And there is plenty of, even if you're not directly serving a patron, there is still a lot of work to manage and run teen services or the children's room. And staff kind of do relish those quiet times when they're not.
Yeah, I'm sure. So they can actually prepare for stuff, prepare for that program.
Yeah, do reports, statistics, planning, continuing education, all those kinds of things. So, yeah, and we'd also have an issue of if we do have to close, say there's just nobody after school, or from 3 to 4, or from 4 to 5. I've gone home early because it's Thursday. Allison needs a dinner break. We're so short staffed. There's no one to cover. Close the teen room from 4 to 5. All of those teenagers then go upstairs and spread out through the adult area and take meeting rooms. And now the staff upstairs is a bit harried trying to manage teen behavior and serve adult patrons. And it's very challenging.
Yeah, so on that comment, I photographed a policy from one of the libraries in Whitensville that talks about, adult spaces is exclusively for adult use only. I mean, that's kind of a bold statement, saying that really nobody can, but adults can use an adult space. I don't particularly agree with that, but I thought it was interesting as a way. And also they said the teen space is only for teens during these times, so, and they're working with a much smaller space, but it was kind of interesting policy to see that. But to that end, I mean, if we could come up with something that would, I mean, I don't want to kick teens out if there's nowhere for them to go. But, it's just an interesting dilemma, I guess.
We tell them we expect more adult-like behavior if they're going to be upstairs. And the second they disrupt somebody, if the teen room is open, we send them to the teen room. We did this afternoon.
Mhm.
You have to be in the teen room because your volume is just too loud for upstairs and it's carrying. This space is specifically for you. Go to that space. And there was pushback because they wanted to be upstairs. But yeah, the teen room has to be available. And as soon as adult patrons start moving away from where the teens happen to be sitting, or we have patrons who don't want to go into the new book or large print room to browse because there's 3 kids sitting in there talking at normal volume for them, but disruptive volume for adults. That's when we say to the teens, you got to move on because you can't be disrupting other people's access and blocking their use of other parts of the library.
Mhm.
It's a very fine balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are good at your job.
We like to think so.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
always.
Well, who is, right? All the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions for Beth? This was regarding the capital request, and we were talking about staffing.
No, but I guess the thing I'm sorry, I don't understand. So how many people do you have now? You were saying that if we make it 4 to 6, you really need 6.
Yeah.
But do you have 6 now?
Not on. So on every at every shift, we have 6 people scheduled.
Okay, I get it.
But if you are Sarah and you're going to story time, now we only have 5 people available to work the 5 desks. So the idea is 1 for every desk and a floater, and then other staff might be around, but they're in a program, they've gone to a meeting, they're at Crescent Manor doing outreach, they're on a Zoom session or a meeting, or
Okay.
they have so we have 18 on staff, 5 temps, and of the 18 staff, like half of those have significant time that they need to be doing off desk work. Like the
Mhm.
managers, myself, and the people who are full-time, they should be 80% of the time doing off desk work to manage the building and 20% on the desk. And the frontline staff, it's the opposite. 80% of your time is on the desk serving patrons directly to the public service. And 20% of your time is little projects, whether that's book group or display or outreach or, whatever. We staff somebody at that lobby desk. 10 to 15 minutes out of every hour, you have to walk away from the desk to manage the sorting machine. And that desk is unstaffed until that person comes back. So it's a constant shell game of covering. And then with at least 6 people scheduled, again, there might be 8 or 9 on the shift. People have leave time. You could have 2 to 4 weeks to 5 weeks of vacation a year to take, plus 3 personal days, plus sick time. And I currently have 2 people out with COVID. As soon as you have 1 symptom, you're out for 5 days. And if you're sick, then you might be really sick and out longer. And there's just not enough coverage to consistently go around. And for scheduling 5 people means you're doomed and somebody's going to call out, and then you're closing a department. So I always schedule 8 or 9, 6 or 5 are covering the desk. Every shift I come in, have you had lunch? Have you had dinner? When you have to go at 4 and be back by 5 because the next person comes in at 5. I'm sorry, you cannot go to dinner from 6 to 7. I know that's inconvenient, but I don't have staff to cover, and you can't abandon the desk or go home for dinner and only leave 3 or 4 people in the building so you can get your break. You have to do it early.
That's helpful.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, like 2 people call out and I'm spending an hour and a half trying to get temps in and reschedule, and you're going to dinner here and you're going to dinner then. And yeah, stressful.
Okay. Any further questions for Beth regarding the capital request 2023?
I think we're still on budget. But I do really want to say,
Oh, budget.
Evan heard what we said at the finance committee hearing. He's committed to working on it. I think he's starting to get it, and getting him in the library every other week will also help. Next, I'm going to get him there at 3 o'clock when the teens are in.
Oh yeah, that was so eye-opening for me as well. So do that. Okay. We can give you a break and we can skip to the capital campaign if they're ready to chat, and then we can go back. Dana, do you want to jump around?
Sure,
a
I
little
think
bit?
we're ready, and Doug
Okay.
can chime in. We're really trying to get everything done. It's just taking us a long time, but things are getting accomplished. So, the donor wall is completed, and we do have some corrections to that, which we will be making. We've been working on completing the commemorative plaques. These are the plaques that are going to be near, like if someone has endowed like the family room in the children's room or a study room, that is what we're talking about. We have like over 22 of those. So we have a design that's been approved, and now we're finalizing all the verbiage. So we're really ready to execute on that fairly soon. And then we have some other plaques that, because we had special rooms like the Wheelock Reading Room, and we also had the entryway and also the children's room. So we're working on different plaques for those rooms, because they'll still have the theme, but they represent more funding. So we want to make sure that we adequately do a nice job on the plaque for both the donors and the room. So we're working on that. It's going along well. I have to work with, I have to get back in touch with Sunshine. I did send them an email about your quote. I will send them an email tonight, but I really have to talk to them because I wanted their advice on a couple of things. We're trying to figure out, where we should put some of these plaques and make sure that they're appropriate size, if they're not too small. So then, so that's going okay. I want to get it done. I would like it to be, I'd like everything to be going by no later than May 5th or earlier, for them to have everything they need to get our work done. So I'm waiting on a couple little things. And Doug has been helping me with that too. The other big project that Doug and I have been working on is we have the community patio area, and the back of the library needs we knew that we had to do more landscaping, and we planned it to do it this way, except we thought we'd have it done earlier in January, but we thought we'd have more of a start, but we're doing okay. We have a nursery that's going to do it. They're very excited about it, and they're going to present us with a plan within the next couple of days. So we hope to execute on that soon, because of the planning season. And then it's going to be very pretty. It's native plants and what they call nativores. So those are both accepted by the lead people. I talked to Miss Kaplan from there, and she assured me that we were okay with what we have right now. And so that's what we're working on. We're going to make it, we're having a nursery really do some work on that hill to make it look a lot better and safer. And then we're also going to do around the amphitheater, because that again was a donation. We want to make sure the gardens are very pretty there. So we're working on that. Pearl is the one that's doing it, and they have different ideas. And then also the capital campaign, we're working with Bartlett Tree Company to do some of the work around the library. We're going to fund that. So we're kind of working with them. They're going to do a little bit of work in the backyard, in the back area. And then the front area, there's, not to get upset, but there's areas that have beautiful lilies right now. And they're sort of like bookends in the front. And all we need to really do is have that kind of mulched, and also the plants divided up so that it fits the area, and it'll be perfect. So that's what we're planning to do. And the lilies were already there. I'd have to look into whether they're native, but they're already there. So I think that's okay. So we're doing that. We also took a walk around the whole place, Doug and I, and we did see some of the things that Beth was talking about. And there's some areas where it seems really odd. I mean, there's a big gravel area, which I think is to allow access to the electric panel, but I think we could do something with that, but that's for another time. And the other thing is, I guess I might be looking for some help. In the next couple of weeks, we need to go in and just get rid of some of the dead plants, or just the dead leaves and stuff. And I've been told by the nursery, if we do that, we'll be fine. So I guess I'll organize that and see if I can get some trustees to help us. And I don't think it would be more than maybe a day's work, maybe less. But it was really helpful to have, we had Donna McDougall from Pearl. She knew exactly what had been planning and told us how it would look. And so she's working with what's been planned in there, and then adding to it and really making it all work really well together. So it's going to look seamless. So we're excited about that. The other thing is also, we're going to be able to do the light structure
Dana?
and everything.
Sorry to interrupt. Before you move on from gardening and weeding and getting extra hands. So it was really interesting, but it worked today. So my company offers like a free PTO day to do volunteer work.
Mhm.
And the Community Harvest Project in Grafton asked for volunteers. They needed like 60 people. And, the HR department sent out an email requesting help. And it filled up almost immediately because people were so excited to get outside and use their volunteer time to help. So if there's something that we can draft up that I could present, I think we can get a lot of volunteers that way. If it's, if you want 5 volunteers.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Or 20.
I did that with
I think we
EMC
can
and
manage.
Apple Tree Arts.
Yeah.
And they came out and I worked with them. They worked like a whole day, moving stuff and cleaning up and all this kind of stuff. That's a great idea.
Okay.
And if anybody else, it would be nice. I think it's good for the trustees to know what's out there too. But if they can help, I don't think it's going to be that much, but everybody that looks at it, I just know it has to be done, and we should do it within the next week or so. But maybe they, so thank you for that suggestion. If we can do that, we'll do that. The other thing is that we're also working on, there's going to be lighting in the back where the community patio with poles and lights. And so the Peralts we're working with the Peralts on that, and we don't envision any problems with that. The other thing, I guess I'm trying to think I think those are the 2 major things I've been working on. The good news, and Doug worked a lot on this. I asked him to help. He has the clock that's now in the Wheelock Historical Room, all clean, and it looks beautiful. And Bradford, I don't know his last name. He did it, a local guy, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Because we think.
Is it possible for us to share, Beth? It says I can't do sharing.
That would be good if you could show it. And we did it economically. And the other clock also is in our donated clock is also now in the large print room, which you've probably seen. But it really looks beautiful, and we're really pleased about that. And we were very careful in the budget. Oh.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the picture up here. Where'd it go?
That's okay.
I've got 3 screens here.
I was about to say, is that our ceiling? I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah.
All right.
Beth did that without us knowing.
Wow.
So I don't know if everyone remembers, but this is the old clock.
Yeah.
And this is the new clock.
Yay.
So it definitely looks a lot better.
We're gonna have a beautiful plaque above it, we believe, we're working on. So we're pleased with that. So, and what is, it's Bradford,
Brad
can't-
Schleipek.
yes. So he's, we also might want him to write him a thank you note. I know he was paid for it, but he did an extraordinary job and he did it really quickly. So we really appreciate that. So that's some of the things we're also working on. Doug, we're also working on to make sure we have, to see what kind of funds we have moving forward and what we're, what we've promised and what we can do. There's been a lot of stuff that we've pitched in the last minute, not, to a certain extent. They needed a nice, in the lobby, we needed a good desk. So we said, hey, we'll do that. So we worked with Beth on that. And there's other we may be helping her with shelves. There's a couple of things she has to get back to us on. So we expect to be working on those, but we're wrapping it up. And I guess we'll see what happens, and I'll be in touch with Beth as far as it would be nice to maybe have some donor parties starting maybe in the late summer, if that's possible, or maybe in July or August. I don't know. I'd like to have the stuff done. Our piano's almost finished too, and I have to look into that. So we're at a point where we might have a lot. I would think in another month, we should have a lot done. And then we could think about, well, if we want a donor party, or I don't know if we ever thought if we're going to have the big party we were supposed to have, because no one's really planned it. But I know it's kind of hard with COVID coming and going, but I would look to Beth for advice on that. For a donor party, we have to be able to eat and drink and talk. So if we have to wait until September or something, then we just have to.
Doug, please go ahead. Thank you, Dana.
Sorry, the only other update would be that you'll recall we got another lobby desk. And so this one that was delivered this week. So they have the new lobby desk.
So did they swap with upstairs?
They haven't swapped it yet. I think it's in Donna's office right now, but they're getting ready to move it around.
Okay. Whatever. Yes, Beth, they changed their minds.
No, actually, so even though the tops are different, it's close enough and it looks nice.
Good.
We would like the two small ones upstairs and the big one to go downstairs in 3 weeks. Not yet.
Okay.
But maintenance tried several different ways to move it and they could not. It is big and heavy. It doesn't really fit in the elevator. And said you'd need to hire 2 to 4 guys to bring it out the door and around. And I said, I don't have a budget for that, but I will bring it to capital campaign to pay to have it professionally moved because it's too heavy.
Well, let's coordinate that with you because we're going to have something else moved in the same fairly soon, and maybe they could do both.
Yeah.
So we'll coordinate it. We have something else that has to be moved in when it's ready.
Yeah.
So maybe we can coordinate that, and maybe it won't be that much of a hassle because you're talking about really physically moving it downstairs, right? Carrying it downstairs.
I think it either has to be carried. It's scary to think about carrying it down the steep staircase, like the long staircase. It might be easier to go
out and about.
It's on the upper level, right? I don't know how they got it up there. Delivery guy.
We'll figure it out. We could go out and about and around, come down. Whoever's going to do it will look at it and give us an idea of what they think works best. So I don't think that's an issue, but we'll take care of that. We have the other item to be moved into.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie, I couldn't see the yellow hand with the yellow flowers.
Oh.
So I spotted it like a minute ago. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Sorry, no, that's okay. I was wondering if that was causing an issue. No, just throwing this out. Doug, when you put both of those pictures up, huge difference. Looks amazing. Just wondering if, social media wise, it would be worth doing like a side-by-side post, because I think that clock could be something that is easily overlooked. And if we draw people's attention to it, especially because it's been there forever, I just think that like it would be something nice for us to throw up there and draw attention, and also show that like we are honoring what was there and updating it. So
A great idea.
Good idea. And then
Yeah.
once we have all the plaques done, then we'll show pictures of that too. That's a great idea because we are doing that. We're being very careful with the historic part of the library. And the whole library was designed like that, you know, the large, I call it the new book and large print room. That room mimics the historical room, but it's modern.
So just to kind of dovetail on Stephanie's comment there, Beth, is that something that someone like Allison Piccone would like to work on? Or is that, Doug, is that something you're comfortable with and just providing to the staff or to post?
I mean, I can put together the before and after picture and then send it to somebody and they can post it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can send it to me and I'll delegate it, that would be great. Thanks.
Perfect. Anything else, Dana?
Hope that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dana and Doug. Any questions for the capital campaign? Okay. Beth, are you ready to speak again? Okay. This is the fiscal year 2023 capital requests.
Also unchanged as far as I know. I had asked for a gate, security gate, and a self-check for the teen room, which as far as I know, will go on town meeting warrant and get voted yes or no. So because we have a library capital request, I will be setting in like again, like I did with FinCom, doing an agenda and expecting a quorum of trustees. Not that you'll get called on individually to vote or have to speak, but if if you're going to be going to town meeting, and we all should be at town meeting, I have to post an agenda, so it will show up there. I forget what the cost was. I sent it out a long time ago. And when I had the IT company in to look at where we needed additional drops, I included locations for the future gate and self-check. We can take care of that before we get it done, and it won't cost more money after the fact or more than I proposed for the capital project.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Beth regarding the capital requests? Anybody have an idea if town meeting is indoors or outdoors? No.
I believe it's indoors on Monday night at the high school. The moderator, Ms. Moderator, just posted an overview of it and promoting it on GCTV. So you can check there for details.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think Stephanie just stepped away for a moment. Do we have a new walkabout? Or at least an update from the last walkabout? Who wants to go first? Doug?
Doug.
Well, I have a couple things that I was, yeah, so we were going to meet yesterday, but of course it rained. But I was there today and I did a quick walk around outside and inside, and I did notice a few things. I've already talked to Beth. I can show pictures, but one was the brick walkway out front has a lot of kind of white coating on it. And I don't know if that's a normal progression of the brick, you know, when it's brand new. So I'm going to bring that to the building committee on next Monday to ask, because it certainly doesn't look like that across the street in the common, and it's the same brick and the same installer. So that was one item I noticed. In the historic reading room, you know, where we're putting this weights and measures, they had to do some electrical work, so they had to cut out the wall for the electrical work. Beth told me today that they're actually working on it in the next week or so to patch that wall, to get that finished and all cleaned up. So that's good. Beth, I know in our last, I don't know, at some point you mentioned the cut on the glass railing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can show a picture. You know, I did look at it, and yeah, there's this little chip out of the glass at where two of the glasses kind of are next to each other and abut each other. But there's a railing on the stairs, so you're supposed to be using your hand on the railing. I mean, I can show a picture. So it's kind of odd that someone even did that. And so for me, it's unclear. We can bring it up to the building committee, but I'm not quite sure if there's anything we should do about it.
Well, if there's a warranty.
Sorry, I saw Beth's hand first. Do you have a response, Beth?
I do. I want to say that if you're tall, it's possible that that rail is a little low. Like it's perfect for me. The other issue though is the rail itself has many sharp points on it because you can't really see from the photo, but there's like a square and then a circle and then a piece of metal that adheres that railing to the glass panels. So if you're going down and you're sliding your hand along it, every place where it adheres the railing to the glass, you're bumping into a sharp corner on both sides and it's very uncomfortable. I had asked for a railing to cap the panels to do two things. One, to keep everything in nice alignment, because if you look at them, they actually are not, flush against each other. And every transition point is actually a spot for somebody who's not using the handrail as appropriate to dip their fingers into those points and possibly break, sprain, or then catch and trip and fall. And a cap would help prevent that. It would be an out of scope after the fact project. We're not going to do change orders at this point. I think it's something that we asked to be remedied because we knew there was inclination for people to put their hand there and go down that way. It's like the design question about you're designing a college campus and there's a quad and you make a cross-shaped walkway and then all the students walk diagonally and you go, okay, well, when we actually do the pass, that we're going to put them where the students walk. So it's a design challenge to build things the way people are going to use them instead of anticipating, this is how they should versus how will they.
Yeah.
So it was I saw it as a hazard just left this way. It also looks unfinished.
So
Thank you. Go ahead, Dana.
Beth, so you're meaning, I think what you're referring to is we see the steel rail rod or railing, and then above it there's a glass. Is that what you're saying? Put a cap on?
Yeah, along that edge where
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, what someone did was they just stuck their hand on it and rolled their hand down this as they're walking down the hill or the stairs, and at these little joints, one of them actually you can see the little tape here. One of them was chipped, and that's where he cut his finger.
Oh, okay.
It shouldn't have chipped. It's beveled glass. However, even if it were not chipped, these edges,
They're pretty sharp.
They're all
Yeah.
like geometry. I failed geometry one quarter. They're parallelograms, right? So they're at an angle, and you have this beveled glass piece sticking up at each transition point. It looks.
I think you're right, Beth. We need to remedy that somehow because people just you're not thinking, oh, I should do this. You're just, you're just not thinking, and then you go down and we don't want them to fall or get cut.
Well, this is pretty common. Like if you go to hotels and business meetings, but I agree that or business offices, but I do agree that it looks nice, but there's some functional issues.
Yeah.
And this is a public building.
Right.
It's not an office with just adults.
And, obviously the top railing, same glass panels, and it's got this handrail at the top. So, maybe we have to do some version of that on the bottom.
Yep.
But I'm assuming we'll be talking about that at the building committee meeting also. Here's the picture of the front walkway that I took. I'm not quite sure if it's like the sand that they put on it to fill in the gaps, and it's just a matter of it a few weeks or months of washing.
Doug, I have a contact probably that I can send that to from my old role, and that can probably take a look at it, and they would probably know pretty instantly. Although the building committee can do the same thing if you're going to engage with them.
Yep. And I think that's all I had noted for today. I did take a picture of the green roof. It's starting to get green. So it's pretty cool. And again, these are warranted. So if there are, I don't know if these brown patches, if they don't ever turn green, they will be replacing those.
Wow.
I have a question. Doug, do you remember what I said I saw? I don't know if this was addressed, it might have been. When I was in the makerspace room, I saw a crack along the ceiling. Did you see that?
I did not notice that.
Okay. I mentioned that. I think someone needs to look at that.
And I know Allison has also mentioned a carpet stain in the gaming room. So I forgot to look at that today, but I will
Okay.
look at both of them before the building committee meeting so I can bring it to their attention.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Karen, did you have anything to add?
The only thing I was going to ask is the white stuff on the walkway. I had an issue with a prior house I had where it was the lime that was spread on the grass that had gotten onto the brick walkway that changed the color temporarily. So I don't know if it could be that and eventually it will go away or not. I guess being hopeful.
I also would wonder if it's related to whatever product we are using to salt, sand, and de-ice the walkways. And if we're using what's appropriate for that brick walkway. So
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Good to know now, because we only had one winter season, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions for our walkabout committee? Okay, excellent. So thank you, Doug and Karen. Next will you intend to do a walkabout before the next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. Great. So Stephanie, while you're away, we passed over Friends membership and update. Do you have an update for us?
That's fine. That's about what this is going to be. There hasn't been a meeting that I'm aware of since the last time we have met. So everything that they're planning for the summer is still go ahead. But other than that, yeah, I don't have anything new to add that wasn't brought up last time.
Okay, thank you.
Do you know when the book fair is?
Go ahead.
They met the 19th.
Oh,
Yeah, the book fair is, it's the week
okay.
after my wedding. I think it's 21st and 22nd. They're still in debate about whether they
Okay.
put up Friday night for a friends only preview. Because we have a program Thursday night, like a big program Thursday night, it limits their ability to start moving things in storage offsite to the library to start doing setup all day Friday. It's a very tight turnaround and they really, really need all the help they can get. Egg hunt was successful. I did find a space for them to move some things into storage. They're talking about annual meeting. They're going to be looking for people to join the boards. If you have some ideas, I forget who's on nominating committee or if they have a nominating committee. But send a note to Carrie and Ellen Gogan maybe. We are doing a program that's kind of a joint program. I'm meeting with Aaron Swartz tomorrow to discuss it. We're celebrating Star Wars Day on May the 4th, as in May the 4th be with you. So we've got a day's worth of programs, mostly drop in. And then we're going to show A New Hope at, I think, 6:30 that night. We want people to come in costume. We want them to do a DIY trivia. We're going to have Lego out. And the friends will be selling Star Wars themed book bundles, which apparently they have a lot of Star Wars material to pack up. And they're working on getting together some kind of a raffle where you can go and, buy a ticket for $1 and 6 tickets for $5 and put your ticket in the right bucket for the prize pack you want to win. They also just remitted a check for about $3,400 to the library, which will cover museum passes. They usually commit to $10,000 a year. And they use some of their money this year to buy those remote meeting owls, the 360-degree hybrid cameras. So the check was a little less this time because they gave me some money already in, I forget, January or February. So, yeah. And their next meeting is, I believe, May 17th, if that's a Tuesday, and that sounds right. It's that third week of May that they're going to have another Zoom meeting. So.
Have they mentioned how much money they might have made on the Easter egg hunt?
Yeah, it wasn't, after expenses, it wasn't a lot this year because they had to buy more candy. They didn't get all the donations they wanted for candy. So I want to say they took in around $700 and then had $300 or $400 in expenses. And then they got a bill for police detail. So they're trying to get that waived. Otherwise, they really won't make very much at all. The event was advertised very late, so it didn't, and there was a competing event on the same day. They had only about 80 kids per hunt instead of 100. So that also reduced the cost a little bit. They did sell some books and puzzles, not as many as they hoped.
It was also raining, right?
It was also raining, but they would have, so they for the first time, actually, they offered, that I'm aware of, they offered day of tickets available for people to walk up, which they've never done before. They've always sold out like a week in advance.
Yeah.
But if people decided to stay home because it was raining, like they would have already bought the ticket generally. So they wouldn't have necessarily lost money due to that. It is rain or shine. I heard one year they just had the eggs in a bag and stood in the gazebo and just handed them out instead of doing an actual hunt. But it did clear up for the 11 o'clock one. It was a lot of fun. So.
Okay, I don't know whose hand is first, but Karen has a cute cat, so go ahead, Karen.
All right. Yeah. Well, I have to say, you know, of the parents and kids and grandparents who came in, both before and after the egg hunt, everyone was giving glowing reviews of the building, where everything was. The craft area was full for quite a bit of the 2 hours that I was there. There were lots of people in there, and while they may not have made that much, I think overall, you know, everyone had a good time and it was a great outreach. And people who, I mean, what I saw with the book bundles, everyone was like, really, that's it?
Yeah.
For the pricing, so.
That's good.
It was definitely successful for those who showed up and braved. And Beth, that wasn't just rain, it was torrential downpour.
I know.
And thank you to your nephew.
I agree.
Yes, and thank you to your nephew for putting on that Easter outfit. So he deserves a lot of praise.
Oh, I'll tell him, thanks.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Doug, please.
I know it's considerably more effort, but do you think now with the new building, we could consider doing it indoors in the library? And certainly the rain wouldn't be an issue. And, you know, you could put the eggs throughout the children's room or something.
Yeah.
Just something to consider.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Off the top of my head, I don't see why not. I mean, our occupancy is actually for the whole building like 1,000 people. It's a big building. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you fill up each space, but then there's limits in various spaces. So there's probably a way to do it. Yeah.
I'm just imagining mass, you know, descending on the library. The hundreds.
That would be fun.
You know what
I think that's a great idea, Doug. Terrific idea. I love it.
I want our teens to do a haunted library as like a fundraiser on Monday. Halloween's on a Monday this year, but I keep wanting to haunt the stacks and do something like that and take over the whole building and do a program. So there's always mini golf too.
Yes.
Yeah. And the April Fool's pranks you guys did was fantastic. I mean, you really had some people going that the library was sinking. Yeah, the initial reactions, yeah, that was fantastic.
I knew nothing about it. I woke up that morning and looked at my phone and my feed, and Library was up at the top, and there was Library Swamp is the first thing that came up, and I went, oh boy. And it was fantastic. I still don't know the culprits, but I love that they did it. I love that they didn't need to ask permission and they just had fun with it. People responded very positively on social media, and I can't wait to see what they do next year. So it's great.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, I like Sandia's self-check prank. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
That was clever.
A lot of good things.
What was that?
She,
There was a-
she put a mirror next to the self-check, where you put your books in. She put a mirror. It said self-check, April 1st only. And it was just a mirror that you could just check yourself out in. Self-check.
They put up a display of books by color and said we were going to reorganize the library by color instead of by, subject and age group. They had a procrastination display that had nothing on it. It's a coming soon procrastination display.
That's good.
I missed
It was
that
good.
one.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. So we're approaching 9 o'clock. And I know we want to talk about policy and vote. And I think Daniela has to pop off right at 9. So I want to give her the opportunity to, talk to us about policy.
Yes,
So,
thank
yeah. Great. So let's jump to policy review, Daniela.
you. Okay, there's one on the docket, the group visits policy. This is the most revised, updated form. The major changes that from the last time we looked at this last iteration is in bold, really making a case for advance notice for those groups. Advance notice for registering for the group, advance notice for if the group wants to have library cards made. And so that is on the first page, and on the second page or in section C, this was the group size. This was where we got some advice from other professionals in terms of chaperones, adults per child or other group member ratios. And whether it's preschool or older children. I think this can accommodate most groups and gives a little flexibility too. And everybody needs to accommodate, has to follow the library code of conduct, no matter what, no matter the size of the group, how many chaperones, so forth and so on. And I think this will help out as people have some questions about. I have a group of 20 kids, 6 to 10 years old. What are the parameters in terms of visiting the library? Most important one of them is, let us know 2 weeks in advance.
Great. Thank you, Daniela. Stephanie or Beth, any further things to add before we put this up for a motion?
I'll just say it is a brand new policy, and we are looking forward to having like the entire 3rd grade come in May for their traditional Grafton History Day visits, like 2 groups of 60 kids. And today an independent school showed up with 12 kids and 4 chaperones, and we had no idea they were coming, and we only had 1 person in the children's room. And we were able to accommodate, of course. We pulled in other people from other departments. But I would like that kind of thing to be prevented, because if they had shown up on the day when the 63rd graders were there, it would just be untenable. So having a policy like this in place also means I can now call that school and say, we're so glad you came, but with a little more notice, it could have been a little bit more of a successful visit. And I also just got a request for library cards for these kids who are coming, and there's not enough time to do them. So we're scrambling to try and figure something else out. So having policy to go back on with, of course, we want to say yes, but we have limited time, resources, and staff. So let's plan as far in advance as we can, make sure that everybody has support and chaperone on site coming along with them. And I really think we came up with something very sound. Appreciate all the work that went into it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Anything to add, Stephanie? Okay,
No, I think they have it covered.
great. Doug.
I would suggest that, I mean, it looks great. I would suggest there's a lot of other policies that are referenced throughout that 2 pages. Maybe put a section that says, you know, please review these are the list of policies that you should review, just so you can see it as a list. But otherwise, it looks great, and I can tell there's been a lot of discussion and thought put into it. So thank you.
So just a point of clarification, Doug, are you requesting? I guess you would propose an amendment. I guess an addition to the draft, right? Before we would vote on it.
Would hyperlink, it's going to go on the web live. Would
Yeah.
hyperlinking it be acceptable to get it passed? And then the next time we review it, we could have like a separate call out for a list of policies at the beginning or end. So
Yeah, hyperlinking would be awesome, because then it's going to be easy for them to get those.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Yep, great.
thanks.
Okay.
So just
Um,
for any of the policies that get put up for a vote, at some point they probably started larger, and then through our discussions and through Beth's guidance, we realized that it was really addressed in another policy. So to make it like clearer and more concise and not really just pages and pages long, that's why many of them that you'll end up seeing before you in the coming months will reference other policies, just to save time.
And I completely agree with that approach. So you don't want to be cross-referencing or having the same stuff in all these different policies. So I make a motion to accept the group visits policy as discussed.
I second that.
Great. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? So we're accepting the policy as written, with the understanding that hyperlinks will be added to reference the other policies. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we need to amend the motion, because we're not changing the language or anything in the policy. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor. Aaron, aye. Doug?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Daniela?
Aye.
Great. I declare the motion carried. Nice work. Thank you, everyone. Daniela, do you need to pop off?
Yeah, I was going to say thank you guys for helping out with all the policies, and being always giving good look over and great advice for it. And I need to pop off, but thank you. It's good to see all of you.
All right. Thanks, Daniela.
Cheers.
So we have a COVID-19 update as the next item on the agenda. Beth.
The COVID-19 update is 2 staff members have COVID. So I sent just a reminder out this week that said, actually, I don't think I even said 2 staff members have COVID. I said, please consider increasing any vigilance that you normally would be taking, and let me know if we need more masks, if we need to bring back plexiglass shields, if we're running out of wipes or sanitizer. Continue to distance as you're able. Reminder to follow the town policy, which is if you have 1 symptom, you have to stay out until you can come back with a doctor's note that says you're fit to return to work. Even if you think it's not COVID, treat it as if it is COVID. I gave out a list of places where we can get free testing. We will continue to pay people if they need to go during work hours to go get tested. We also have reimbursement from our healthcare. So I just, made sure that we're, again, like all on the same page. We have not a new staff member, but a new person who's working with our page who has an assistant. So I made sure like she had all the forms, reviewed the training, and did all of her sign-offs. And also encourage staff to be more vigilant about let's clean the self checks. And every time you get up from your workstation and a new person takes over, we need to be cleaning and sanitizing to reduce spread as much as we can. I continue to watch every Sunday. I get an update for Town of Grafton and case counts. It was 9 2 weeks ago, 18 the next week, and then 19 this week. So I was relieved it didn't double from 18 to 36 this week. But I'm just continuing to keep an eye on it. Right now, we have no mask mandate. It's optional, and we have them if people want them. And we are scheduled to reintroduce that toddler and baby programming in May. So that's, I don't know. We'll see. I'm hopeful that we will be able to do that. Maybe we'll go back to suggesting masking. So right now it's just suggested in the children's room. We may go back to requiring it because it is still an unvaccinated population. I'm also watching to see what other libraries are doing. So status quo for now, and slightly increased vigilance, but we are still, and Worcester County is still low, and case counts have definitely decreased from January and February nationwide, actually. So also, people are not getting as ill, which is also sort of a relief. So.
So regarding the children's room, have people responded well to the optional masking? Like we encourage you to mask, or are they just saying, great, I don't have to wear a mask anymore?
Well, people come in and they see the staff wearing them. So they go, oh, do I have to mask? We say, well, it's up to you. We're masking in. I think most staff are masking. We're masking in the children's room. Will say, we're masking in the children's room because we work with a vulnerable population, which kind of indicates you should put on your mask, but we are not making you. And we have one if you would like one, just to, yeah.
Okay.
Certainly, we're not getting into arguments with people about keeping their masks on, which is a relief for staff and probably patrons. But we also had somebody sitting and sneezing at the public computer the other day with no mask on. So,
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie.
So in relation to that, my daughter's school is coming, or her class is coming to the library soon. Very excited because she was the only one who has a library card. So she feels like she's an expert. But I just want to throw out that there was no communication on what came home to us parents, that you guys are, suggesting masks, and there's almost no masking because it is completely voluntary. So I know specifically from going in a few times in the last week, I could count on one hand the amount of adults and students that I'm seeing. So if the library is going to start having these tours and stuff, maybe requesting that anything that gets sent home to parents includes that language that you're suggesting a mask in the library or whatever, because otherwise you're going to have hordes of children with no mask. And so just throwing that out there.
I hear you. I have to tell you that we have absolutely no control over, we're not making that document and sending it home. And the communication is not even direct with the schools or classroom teacher. It's several times removed with the parent volunteer to the coordinator to the instructor. And it would be very hard if they don't have to mask in schools to tell them they have to when they come to the building, when there seems to be the complete do whatever you want to do attitude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I'm telling my kid, mask. I don't care what everybody else is doing. You put your mask on. I can't get sick. I'm getting married in 2 weeks. So, yeah. But yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great point, Stephanie. I think what'll happen is the kids and parents who are really conscious about going into public spaces with lots of people in close contact, that they will still mask, but and the staff will be masked, and and like Beth said, people really aren't getting as sick anymore. I mean, there is a potential that someone is going to get sick because of these visits, but that's just kind of the reality that we live in right now. So
we do have excellent filtration in our new HVAC. Like we have grade 13 filters, which, isn't required, but it does very fine particle filtration. And I was the one who insisted on putting in those filters. So that helps. We also have very high ceilings. We also do have a door in the children's room. We won't want kids running out, certainly, but there might be a way to get some extra fresh air in those spaces. And because it's a big group, we're not going to have just so you know, we're not going to have 60 kids in the children's room at once. What we do is split them up. So it might be 20 in the program room, or 20 in community room A, 20 in community room B, 20 in the children's room, and then 20 moving through the building, and they'll rotate through to sort of mitigate. Well, it's also staffing, like we have a lot of staff in that day, so we can break them up into smaller, more manageable groups. And part of it's crowd control and close contact. So that will help. And it's a good size room and building too. So, but yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion regarding COVID-19 update or anything else you have to add, Beth? Okay. Any further discussion or questions for Beth? Okay. So director's report. I know you mentioned that you don't have the materials to present.
So sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to table that, or do you want to give us? Okay, great.
Yeah, thanks.
So our public input happened earlier. So I'm on to next meetings. Board of Library Trustees, Wednesday, May 25th. The town meeting, Monday, May 9th, and the town election, Tuesday, May 17th. Regarding our next meeting, as Beth mentioned, the counts in Worcester County for COVID-19 are a lot lower. April was kind of the date where MBLC said that boards should meet remotely. I think we can continue to meet remotely. I don't know. I'd have to check with the MBLC. I don't know that they're forcing anybody to meet in a physical location quite yet. There's still a chance for us to get each other sick when we meet in person. I mean, it's a pretty small group. I would be in favor of having our next meeting together. But to that end, I know that certain members of this meeting, including Beth, Beth, don't live in Grafton, right? So having an optional remote meeting, if we can manage that, would be, I think, preferable, and maybe to some who don't want to meet in person. So I'll open up for discussion. Beth, did you have something to say?
I'm going to be on my honeymoon either way, and will not be at our next meeting.
Sure. So you won't be here in person for one.
I'm not getting on Zoom on my honeymoon.
No.
Sorry, love you all, but no.
Yeah.
I love it. I probably will not be at that meeting either because I'm traveling, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
I can send a staff member if you would like instead.
Yeah.
I don't think you should move the meeting.
Yeah, we can certainly have an abridged meeting. If you have certain items that they may not be well equipped to present on, certainly let me know. If they're better for you to just write something up for us with a quick update, and we can read it, or they can present it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds great. So everybody's okay with May 25th. Any further discussion about remote versus in person?
I'll do whatever, but I mean, just selfishly, I have 3 little kids, and a lot of times I'm the only one home. So being remote is just easier, but whatever we need to do, as long as I have far enough notice, like now. But if we change that, closer to the meeting, there's a chance I won't be able to make it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay either way.
I am too. I'm still wearing a mask when I'm going out and about. I cannot afford to get sick. I don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Karen, you're nodding your head. Are you, what are your thoughts?
For the most part, when I'm out and around people, I'm still wearing a mask also.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm around on the 25th, so I can do either.
Okay.
And I think
Um,
Beth mentioned this before, that even if we do it in the office, we can do
Yeah.
it a Zoom so that some people could be
Yeah.
remote and some could be in person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It might be worth trying that just to see how well we can get it to work.
So
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
It is really easy.
That's a good solution because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, it's, who knows what's going to happen, but I'm
Yeah.
just being cautious.
I
I
mean-
mean, it doesn't matter to me if I come to the,
Mm-hmm.
but, we all got our
Mhm.
things. And it is hard when you have kids at home and you have stuff to do. Like I barely get dinner made. I mean, it's like, it's like happens like sometimes 5 minutes before or 15 minutes before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea of an owl. I'm not sure how I feel about it. If it's just going to be another Zoom meeting, why don't we just have a Zoom meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it allows some of us to meet in person. We certainly would, if we want to meet at the municipal center, we need to book that room. I don't believe we have it earmarked for us,
Yeah.
and we need someone to record it.
You could meet at the library because it's
Right.
at ADA compliant now, and the remote meeting, like it just plugs into your computer and it's through Zoom, so it would be recording anyway. So
Mhm.
you don't need to do that.
That's what I thought.
And we didn't do live anyway. We are 2 steps closer though to having live camera feed for the meeting room. Bob Dutoma has been working with another consultant to make that happen. So and funding it.
Okay.
Just a funny little story. I had a meeting last week that everyone was going to try to do live. Yeah, over half the people ended up on Zoom anyway, just because stuff happened,
Okay.
That's life in 2022.
Yeah, I'd love to use the library space.
I would too.
So perhaps I can discuss with Beth offline how we can put that together to make sure it gets recorded under the Grafton account using the OWL device and whatever other equipment we need, my laptop or whoever's laptop we need to connect the OWL camera. Okay. Any further discussion on meeting? Okay, so I think we'll plan on having an in-person meeting for those that can attend and have a remote option as well. Great. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Great. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aaron, aye. Doug?
Aye.
Dana?
Hi.
Karen?
Aye.
And Stephanie?
Aye.
Great. I declare the motion carried.